what an ending of the college football season. I know it's bad that college football has to end. It was a great season. It was filled with so many big moments, particularly tonight's national championship game. Just when I thought last year was the best title game of all time, this year just came around and said not so fast. Because this game was so unique. Because, honestly, it's not at all what I expected. Although I did pick Alabama to win the game, there was more points scored than I thought there was going to be. But let's just talk about how there were so many different game changers in this ball game. The first game changer that I thought happened was Georgia's defense holding up to the occasion after Jake Fromm's interception just right when the game begins. I'm surprised that Georgia didn't start utilizing the running game right away in this ball game, because that's what I really thought that both sides of the ball was going to do. Just use their strengths, which was the running game. Because in pregame, in my predictions video, that by the way got over 3,600 views. Great job, guys. Thank you for the support. I said that the running backs would be a huge difference maker in this game. And that wasn't really the case at all. It seemed like the quarterbacks were the huge difference makers in the game. Jake Fromm had the mistakes. Tua, I'm not going to try pronouncing this man's name. So we're just going to call him Tua T. And if he did ultimately solidify a starting spot for Alabama next year, prepare for me to start calling him Tua T for the next 2 to 3 years. So the quarterbacks were the difference in this game. And we'll get right back to Tua T in a second. Let me just say, Sony Michel looked like the better running back in this matchup. Preseason, we were all hyped up about Nick Chubb. But Sony Michel, I felt like, was the better running back in the 2 playoff games that Georgia had. It looked like Sony Michel was the better of the 2 running backs. And for Alabama, you had Bo Scarborough and Damian Harris. But Bo Scarborough and Damian Harris weren't necessarily as big of a factor as what Alabama was probably hoping for. In the first half, Georgia moving the ball pretty well on Alabama. Because I'd never seen an Alabama team coached by Nick Saban be in so much disarray. Just when I thought that the Iron Bowl was the biggest disarray and biggest dysfunction in an Alabama team coached by Nick Saban. And then in the title game, it felt like we were seeing the Iron Bowl once again. That's what it looked like in the first half. Like Auburn was moving the ball at will against Alabama in the Iron Bowl. And that's what Georgia was doing in this championship game in the first half. But let's just talk about the gutsy call that Nick Saban did by putting in Tua T in the second half, because the Alabama offense was showing no signs of life in this matchup. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jalen Hurts was held to 21 passing yards. And Alabama was only held to 97 or 96 total yards of offense in the first half. And they were also shut out for the first time at the end of the first half in almost a decade. So this is kind of the biggest shock that we've seen out of an Alabama team coached by Nick Saban. But the second half rolled around, and I was seeing on social throughout my Twitter feed all these different tweets on how the reaction was. I've seen people say this was not a good move for Nick Saban to do by putting in Tua instead of keeping in Jalen Hurts. Honestly, it looked like some of the passes that Tua had overthrown, maybe Jalen Hurts would have made the plays. But a huge turning point in that game, in my opinion, was the huge Tua scramble. If I recall, it was 3rd and 7. But Tua actually, out of all those tackles he broke, he was able to scramble for the first down. And that's what led to their first touchdown of the game. So that was a turning point for me, in my opinion. J.K. Scott did a good job in the punting game. Alabama's defense really rose up to the occasion right at the end point of the game. The further it got along into the fourth quarter, the further it got along after Alabama had trailed 20-7, Their defense just got stronger and stronger the further on the game went after Georgia took the 20-7 lead. But let's just talk about the ending of this one. Now, Alabama, they have a chance to go to win this national championship in regulation to kick a field goal. Now, in my opinion, I felt like it would have been smart for Georgia to let them score to take a 27-20 lead to leave Georgia some time. Because normally what happens in 99 of 100% instances, unless you're playing Madden, of course, teams will actually just try to put the ball right in the middle of the field, put it at a comfortable hash mark for the kicker to win the game. I didn't think that I really thought that Alabama shouldn't have been playing for the field goal. I thought they should have been playing for the touchdown. Because I was thinking they should have ran the ball because the running game, it started showing some life in that fourth quarter. However, Alabama's kicker missed 2 field goals in this game. And let's talk about overtime because overtime, that was a really good point in this game. I just found it really interesting. So, Georgia kicks the 51-yard field goal, and we're at 23-20. And now it's Alabama's turn, and a touchdown for Alabama wins this game. And the first play of this game, I assumed the strategy when you need a touchdown in overtime is you do what your strength has been, and that was running the football. Because their running game, it may have been contained throughout most of the parts of the game, but it started to get momentum the further on the game went. So I really thought that Alabama was just going to pound the ball 4 times, knowing they have 4 chances to get 10 yards each and every single time. I really thought that. That's what I thought they were going to do, was just run the football. But the first play they have in overtime, Tua takes a 16-yard sack. Because really in overtime, when you need a touchdown, why don't you throw the ball away? Why do you even bother throwing the football? But the very next play, Tua channels his inner Aaron Rodgers and throws a deep touchdown to win the game. And that, in my opinion, was probably the greatest championship game that I've seen. In fact, the last two championship games, I've been really satisfied with. Because I think we deserve great finishes to a college football season, especially with as great as a sport as college football is. We deserve a great end to the season. And the last 2 years has really delivered. So that is all I have for college football this season. Thank you to everybody that has tuned into me this year. Thank you for a great season. It means a lot that all of you kept up with me week by week, sending in predictions, leaving your thoughts, being interactive in the comment section. It really means a lot to me. Thank you to those loyal people out there. Thank you for a great season. And college football season, it may be over, but we got some great things coming up. College basketball's coming up. We still got some NFL playoffs left. We still got NHL playoffs left. We still got the NHL playoffs to do in April. We got the NBA playoffs in April. So it's going to be some exciting stuff. Just because college football's over doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing this channel. I will see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you next time.